Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to your weekly reading. I hope you're having a wonderful week, my friends. We just went through a full moon, and I hope you took the time to recharge your batteries. It's perfect opportunity for that. So here we are. I am super excited once again to reconnect with universal truth and bring about some of those messages that can help you find clarity in your path. Of course, these are very overall readings, so it's not going to describe every situation. You have to keep that in mind. However, I do, the intentions behind my readings is always to bring messages that are going to help anybody, right? The purpose is to always bring clarity, and it's not to focus on negativity, but more on the positive nature of things. They are timeless too, so that means you can come back anytime and re-listen to the video, and I'm sure there will be something that you will get. You will get a deeper understanding the second time around, so keep that in mind. Now, that being said, I would like to clarify something that happened to me in your last reading. I had somebody reach out and communicate in a way that I didn't feel that was appropriate. Will also accuse me of doing something that I didn't feel that I do. Let me just say to all of you that I consider myself to be a woman of the 20th century. I'm very liberal. And, I've come to that place in my life and in my evolution where I really embrace freedom of gender, freedom of choosing. So if you want to have a relationship with multiple people, I don't see any problem with that. So, I am a lover, not a fighter. I am a solution oriented, not a war maker. So when I do these readings, if one of the things, I do, and I do every day, is that, I clean my energy. I do practices of, realigning and harmonizing my vibration so that I could have that level of clarity that when I access information, I am not, using my own filters, right, or my own beliefs to shape the information. So this has been the one thing that I've been doing for a long time that have finally got me to a place where I could, be able to describe information without judging or criticizing. So that being said, when you feel triggered by some of the things I say, the one recommendation that I have for you is to step aside and take a little bit of a break and ask yourself why you're feeling so sensitive. And if that is not enough, right, you can always, send me an email or connect, but do it in a respectful way. I do this with respect. I do it with incredible joy and excitement, and I feel that I'm good at what I do, and I'm not going to stop. But I do ask for people to respect the work that I do, and if you are, challenged by it, let's communicate in a respectful way. And if this is not describing your situation, and then why bother? Why bother? So if you're feeling challenged, I know it's not about me. It's more about you, and I am willing to help you. This is part of the work that I do. But, let's do it in a way that is going to be fruitful for you and me. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do that for you. So, let's keep some boundaries, healthy boundaries, and let's continue to work together without stepping on each other's toe. So let's do that. So thank you for listening to me. And now that I've said my piece, let's begin with your reading. So this week, Scorpio, one of the things that I see here is Uranus. Uranus is speaking in this reading very strongly. So that tells me that right now you are going through some changes that are very, very important to you. because this is about, finally letting go of a lot of those habits, right, that you been operating from that are no longer working. So I feel here a sense of agitation around this needing of letting go, becoming aware that, you have certain behaviors that are not really helping you. So don't be surprised if suddenly you feel like this has to go. This is ridiculous. I've been doing this for 20 years, and now I'm starting to see that that is not giving me what I need. So what can I do to change it? So there's a sense here of, cutting through or cutting away from a lot of behaviors or possessions or relationships that are not giving you the satisfaction that you deserve. Now, of course, with the moon, we're feeling very sensitive. And this is an aspect of Scorpio that, my goodness, is always there. You are very sensitive beings. And a lot of that sensitivity, you keep it inside you. And this is where you can be very intense, Scorpio. And a lot of times, my friend, you can have a tsunami going on internally with your emotions, and outside you're just, demonstrating that things are fine. And this is where a lot of times you can get in trouble because you don't express a lot of those emotions in a way that is going to provide you with the options to feel better. So, you keep a lot inside and you build it up unto a point where it's like, you can't hold it anymore. And when you respond, this is when a lot of people say, oh, that is scorpion bite, right? Of course, I'm not criticizing you here. I'm just making an observation of, the level of sensitivity that you deal with, Scorpio, I get you. I am a Virgo and I love Scorpion people. But, one of the difference between a Scorpion and a Virgo is that we're a little bit more practical in the sense that we get analytical instead of emotional, while you get more emotional. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that if our emotions are dictating our emotional state and, is creating resistance, and then, we need to change it. I mean, if you feel that you don't, if you feel that whatever you're doing, right, it's working for you, great. But if it's not, and then we have to find a different way of expressing who we are. So, in a lot of cases, Scorpions tend to hold in and keep all that intensity inside. And then that starts sort of triggering a lot of those emotions of insecurity or unworthiness or whatever fears, you have going on, to the point that starts creating a story. And by the time you get to express and you get to say what you need to say, that comes out completely off. And you can do that 1, 2, or 3 times with your partners, but eventually that starts shutting people down. And this is where you may feel like, it's not working. We don't want to push, our loved ones away. Not in that way. So this is why, there is a sense here of, needing to change, to cut away, to release a lot of those, habits that are no longer working for you. Now, of course, you have Venus here, and this is really nice because it's a reminder of, love yourself, accept yourself, okay? Not until we accept ourselves, we cannot change. And that means that we have to recognize all of the things that we do sometimes that are not necessarily, is not what we're proud of. And it's not until we accept it, right? Until we become transparent with, our behavior that we can't change it. So here, they're suggesting, look, the best environment to do this work, where you're going to find a lot of options, is move your focus into your heart center, okay? The heart center is that doorway that is going to provide you with better options. Keep in mind that, a lot of times we tend to confuse the differences of, how our heart communicates to our mind. So I always say that our thoughts and ideas is the conversation, or the way our mind communicates, and our heart communicates through emotions and intuition. So, if people say, oh, because my heart told me that. And then they tell me a story. And it's like, normally the heart does not tell you a story. Normally the heart just communicates through intuition. And the best way of use that intuition is not to translate it, not to describe it. Once we do, now we're incorporating filters of our mind that can really reduce and eliminate a lot of the, purity or the essence of that feeling. So learn to just feel that. Now, of course, when we are this type of, level of sensitivity, right? When we have a lot of emotions that, have a story behind them, and then we are at the mercy of those emotions. In one moment, we can be in the top of a mountain, and the next moment, we can be at the bottom of a hole. And those extremes are not necessarily expressing who you are in a harmonious way. And this is where people, sometimes may look at you like, I don't get you. But that is because you are in a tug of war with your own self. This is when, you have that tsunami, like building up. So, it's healthy for you to learn a way to get, to avoid, what can you do to prevent you to get you that far. And this is where, self-discipline is going to be important, right? It's paying attention and choosing new methods or, new ways of, doing things. But ultimately, you got to remember that you are going to attract experiences to help you, right? To give you the opportunity of show and demonstrate that whatever you've learned, you can use. Because information that you cannot use or put into practice, it just remains a philosophy. And being a philosopher is a beautiful thing, but ultimately we came here into this material world to demonstrate our skills in creating reality, in materializing energy, materializing energy. Okay, so here I see that this is the time where you're really making an effort to clear away and cut away a lot of those things that are not being of use to you. So don't be surprised if the relationships that you are going to attract and a lot of the dynamic in those relationships are to question, is that what you want? Is that really what you want? Are you really utilizing all the different aspects of you in this situation? Are you being able to express your idea in a way that feels healthy to you? If there are triggers, you got to recognize, why are they there? What are they trying to tell you? So, when I look, okay, at your energy in the heart of the reading, I see this beautiful Ace of Cups. Okay, but next to them, you have the Seven of Swords and the Eight of Swords. So you could see here that, emotionally, once again, you are either one moment in a state of, waiting, guarded, and then the next moment you're struggling with your own, fears with the Eight of Swords. So with the Seven, which is the energy of the Chariot, you're not really moving. You're just waiting, right? Waiting for something to happen in regards to this person. And then with the Eight of Swords, this is the Strength card. You're kind of just torn and conflicted about what to do or how to feel or, how to relate to this situation. And remember, I'm going to remind you once again that this could be one of those opportunities that you have created in order to demonstrate how you can overcome a lot of this emotional turmoil, okay? So it's not about being less sensitive. It's about organizing those emotions that are really going to work for you, okay? So we're trying to, behave in a way that is going to attract and, bring a lot of those things that are going to make us feel satisfied. Now, as you know, move away from the center, once again, you're demonstrating that things are cool. So there is a part of you that is saying, yeah, I am ready to, you know, rejoin or reconnect with this person and communicate. So there is a desire for that. And you know that you want to reconnect. But my question to you, Scorpio, is, as you move away from this emotional turmoil, have you looked at your options? Because maybe one of them is for you to do something that you may not be doing, and you're resisting it. Here, I see you more ready as a King of Pentacles of knowing what you need to do. But maybe somehow a lot of those emotional fears are getting in the way of you doing what you're supposed to do. Of course, this situation, I know, is not describing every situation out there for you, Scorpio. But keep in mind that what I'm picking up here is only for those of you that makes sense. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So if this does not describe, you know, what's happening in your life, please let it go. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate that. You know, but I'm describing what I see here, so I have to honor what is being said here. So, you know, here, you know, I see you ready, but, you know, you just get conflicted by your emotions. So whatever your head is saying and your heart is saying is very different. And I will say that, you know, a lot of this self-imposed emotions, negative emotions, are not from the heart, okay? This is from the mind. This is all stories. I would say that your heart, okay, is more feeling that this is the right thing. You know, like, yeah, if you feel like you're ready to reconnect with this person, and then make yourself available. Because I'll tell you, when I see the energy of this person doesn't hate you, and they're not torn apart or, you know, questioning. They're following their own star, their own inner guidance. They're receiving inspiration, and they're following that, and they're working on it. Here, you know, I also see you in the Knight of Wands, which sometimes tells me that, you know, at some point you do get into that place where, you know, you feel a little bit better. And you can see this situation, right? You can observe and you can see yourself struggling with this. Which, you know, at some point, you know, you're learning a lot with the Queen of Swords. I can see you're learning a lot because, as you can see, there's butterflies, you know, moving around this, you know, Queen of Swords. So as you're realizing things and, you know, seeing things, you're learning a lot. So it is in this state of Knight of Wands, you know, which is, you know, a place of waiting, kind of taking a break. This is more taking a break. That you are starting to see a lot more and understanding a lot more. So there, to some degree, there is a level of illumination that is taking place this time around that is helping you understand a lot of what you do when you're in conflict. Now, when I look at the person that you're dealing with here, you know, they're following their own star. They began a new cycle where they're really focused. And to some degree, the reason why they're so busy is because, you know, they trust that eventually they are going to attract the right opportunity for themselves. They also have given you a break, and they figure, you know, you need to go and follow your truth and find clarity. They don't feel that you're clear enough. They feel that sometimes, you know, you're doing the best that you can. However, you know, you're struggle with direction, like, you know, where to go. It's like, you know, you're struggling with the next level. So instead of getting in your way, they're just kind of letting you be. And, you know, in some ways, I'm going to say that that is someone that really cares. To just, you know, love you and accept you, even when you are not a true representation of what they want. So, you know, there is a very different energy between the two of you. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, if you do want to improve the situation, you're going to have to, you know, work with this, you know, these energies of the 7 and the 8 of Swords. You gotta, at some point, you know, come to terms with yourself and release it. And this is where a lot of our old stories get in the way. You know, sometimes, you know, there are people that, you know, they keep possessions for 10 and 20 years and they don't use them. But they say, oh, maybe someday I would need them. And it's like, well, but you haven't used it in 10 years. What makes you think that you're going to need it in your, 11th year? But, there's nothing wrong with that. However, you've got to keep in mind that you live in a reality where everything is an exchange. So if you want to attract and create new opportunities, you have to let go of the old. Of course, I'm talking here about the things that work. If it works, well, you keep it. But if it doesn't work, and then you have to let it go. And this is where you have to, you may feel this need of, letting go of a lot of possessions in your home, or, changing jobs or changing residence. I mean, this is all part of that. It's all of a sudden this need, this awareness that I need to do this. I just don't want to do this anymore. So it's finding ways, around those newfound feelings that we need to work through in order to, now create the types of opportunities that are going to allow us to move through, better, better place. But it takes self-discipline. So, one of the things that sometimes can happen is that, we get very distracted, Scorpio. We get very distracted with life and responsibilities and trying to have fun and doing all these things. And all of a sudden, we kind of lose track of, what we're doing. So, we have to sit down with ourselves and then, sort of, focus and write down what are the things we want to do. And just remember that the universe always creates opportunities to, for you to get to demonstrate what you're learning. So you can't forget. So this is where we have to, become focused and pay attention. Another thing that I see you learning here, Scorpio, is, your emotional association is I create. And I think I said this before, the organs, of the body that represents you is the reproductive organs. So a lot of Scorpios, they tend to find a level of security in the sexual connection. Of course, this is not going to be for every one of you, but the ones that do this, what I'm talking about. Here, you're starting to learn that that's not the only way. There are other options. So we're starting to feel like we want to, create connections more on the basics of spiritual connections. And, this is another aspect that you are dealing with, that you're changing. Sexual intimacy, there's nothing wrong with that. It's awesome. You guys are very, very, very sensuous. However, finding security or finding, that connection in that way sometimes can, stress you out. Because not everybody sees things that way. They don't see it in the way you do. So other people are looking for a different type of intimacy. So learning, how to accommodate your emotions with the other people's, needs is going to be very useful for you. At least not to trigger insecurities. So we don't want to, we want to cut that away, we want to remove that. So working through your, challenges right now, it's really important. And what is being asked of you is to pay attention to what your soul tells you here with this star ancestor. Okay? You are being guided. You are not alone. Keep that in mind. And with the star ancestor here, one of the things that you are being reminded is to heed the messages coming directly from your soul. Just keep in mind that there is a deeper purpose in the human journey. Not only were you born on purpose, but you were born for a purpose. And just remember that whatever inspiration and information is coming your way right now, it's not new information. So, there are many people out there that can help you and assist you in this time of transformation. So don't forget to ask help. And don't forget to seek help. It's just a matter of where you go to get it. A lot of times, one of the things that I've learned to do is to listen to those that are ahead of me and learn from the ones that have succeeded. So, you're being guided right now into a road where you would not only light up, but you would, be a light, a beacon of light to this planet. So just keep that in mind. Now, with the Shaolin Master here, they're suggesting not to rush. Scorpio, you don't do well when you rush. I feel like what happens is that you go, 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 and then you get to that point where you're exhausted. And when you get to that, exhaustion place, you become very sensitive, and this is when you get overwhelmed. So, they're saying here, take deep breath. What is the rush? Be patient. Cultivate patience. And I don't know if you can be cultivating patience, but, I feel like following wisdom or, intuition, it sort of soothes that. And it starts, if you understand that everything is in cycles, like with the moon, right? So energy has a flow. That if you start paying attention, right, because you want to learn, and then you start cultivating patience, it just comes. It's an aspect of wisdom. Let's put it that way. So with the Shaolin Master, here you're being reminded that you're liquid love, and this time around you're being guided to flow like water. And keep reconnecting with your purest intention, So, slow down and, just refocus your gaze. Do practices that are going to bring that sense of, equanimity and peace. And from that place, you have the opportunity to really assess and receive the information that you need in order to bring that, that clarity, bring the answers that you need to know what to do. Of course, this requires you to, take a look at yourself from a very, transparent place. And, you have to be honest and accept that, there are things that are not working. And it's not until you do that with love and acceptance, without judgment, that you are able to say, okay, it's true, I need to change this. And then it's like, what am I going to do? What are my options? And as you find your options, know that, eventually an experience is going to come up so that you can demonstrate what you've learned. And there's no right or wrong or judgments, okay? So if you fall down, just get up and dust yourself off and do it again. And remember that these experiences are not going to go away until you learn them. And this is what is sometimes difficult to understand, because, sometimes I hear people complaining like, I'm so sick and tired. This is happening over and over and over again. But they don't know what they need to do in order to get away. Why? Because they're really caught up in the, traumas, the fears, and they can't seem to, to be present when they're having those emotions. And the more we run away from them, the more we are now creating the next opportunity, which is going to be 10 times harder. Because it's not harder so that you can be miserable. It's harder because ideally what your soul wants is for you to get it. So the next one is going to have a stronger impact in you. So if you are now surrendering to the victim role or the emotional chaos, oh my God, the next one is going to be even worse. So, we have to then come back to that understanding of who we truly are. We are vibrational beings. And the more we resist, the more that situation will persist. So at some point we have to come back to ourselves and say, oh shit, I create my reality. And whatever vibration, right? Whatever harmony or symphony I have going on right now is going to attract and magnetize a lot of these situations. So, I better do the work and start looking within and understanding what I'm doing here. And there are enough, information out there that can help you. Just pay attention to your inner guidance, because you'll be guided to know what to do next. So, we have to move away from the judgment. We have to move away from critical thinking. And not to say that critical thinking is wrong, but, we have to stop being so critical. And we have to somehow, remove ourselves from a lot of that sensitivity to be able to do the work. I did it, I'm doing it. So I'm not just coming from a place of I know it all. Believe me, I struggle with this, but now I've learned to have enough compassion with myself and enough love with myself that I'm okay. I'm not as reactive. I'm more solution oriented. And you have that opportunity, and I know you can do it, Scorpio. So have trust, have faith in yourself. You're not alone. And you will attract the right people that will, in a loving way, support you. So I feel like this person here that you are working with has that capacity to do that. But you have to, move away from that emotional space to be able to find the clear answer, to know what to do. And if you feel that it's worth saving this connection, and then, do what you need to do. Don't be afraid. I'm hearing here that you know what you need to do. Okay, my dear Scorpio, I hope you enjoy my reading. I hope you have a nice Thanksgiving, that you spend it with your loved ones, and, really, truly receive the nourishment that you deserve. Don't forget to love yourself. And thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.